After 6 weeks, I'm going to decommission the single dahlia tuber propagation bed today. Have a look at the tubers that didn't germinate and maybe reach some conclusions as to why that might be. So far we've got 74 live dahlias. Have a look at those now. Here are the tubers which have sprouted. These are the earliest ones, and they get younger and younger as we go down. There's some more there, and some more over the other side of the polytunnel. So it's now the middle of May, and these guys are going to be okay to go in the ground pretty soon. I'm just going to dig them out as we go, and if there are any which are sprouting, and there are a few, then I'll store those in as friendly conditions as possible and come back after the video is finished and get those planted up straight away. So there's one here that's got a sprout. This is interesting actually already. This is one of the single dahlia tubers which has been cut at the bottom for various reasons. I've said before, it's standard practice to do that if there's a bit of rot at the tail end of the tuber, is to cut it off, and some of them have failed on account of not developing roots because of that cut off. The majority of the roots come from the base of the tuber. And in this case we can see that it has put a root out, but it's not a particularly good one, and the stem is thin and not very healthy, so I don't think I'll plant that up. But it's interesting to see that first of all they can put roots out when you chop the bottom, but secondly it might not be very good because it's not a good root system. So this one had a root. This has no root and no eye. This little guy, no action at all. This one has put some roots out, but nothing in the way of a shoot. And this is the same, quite a good root system here. So a good root, but no signs of a shoot. You get some sort of system going here. This is one that's just failed completely, probably because this is where an eye would be and there simply is no eye. Same again, developing a root, but no eye. So this variety is Doris Day. So I'll just lay them down on top like so. A fair number of those didn't develop. We'll have a look at these Tarahati Ruby. Okay, so this this big tuber. Once again, this is one where the base was cut off. It's doing its best. It's put a shoot out, and there's another one there, so there's two eyes, two shoots coming, but no root. And it's not doing very well, so I think that's another fail. That's just a fail. Same for that. Right, there's a bit of consistency coming through here. That probably would have been alright really. There's a shoot coming and there's some roots, although they're not very good. Some roots here, and the beginnings of what looks like a shoot, although it's deformed. There's an awful lot more didn't germinate than I expected here. Didn't put shoots out. Than I expected. Probably some little bits of shoots trying to come on some of them. So we look at these, all of which we'll say have failed. There's a bit of consistency in as much as these three had their tuber base cut off for one reason or another, and this one, these four, have failed to develop well. We have had some that did okay despite having the base of the tuber cut off, but these four of them here, all the same, fails, and the base cut off. And then the other thing which we would expect is that there's some simply without any eyes when they were put in, so they're never gonna put a shoot out. Well, we're not collecting any tubers that are worth planting on. This is Stella Blighton. Taken quite a few out of here, so there's very few tubers left. Well, that's it, just those two little bits. It's worth planting them up even if you think there's very little chance, because there's nothing lost really. And some of these doubtful looking things have actually put shoots out and are doing very nicely over in pots there. So there's a pattern emerging. The vast majority of these that haven't put shoots out, that's just disintegrated. The vast majority of these that haven't put shoots out, it's because there was never an eye. Some of them look like they could have been, but there wasn't, and others look like they're no chance at all. Most of them put roots out, meagre roots. So we've got 60 failed tubers here, out of a total of, it was 140 that went in here, so a little more than half have germinated. A good deal more than half have germinated, but a good many have failed as well. Some were obviously doomed from the start, others seem to have had a chance and just didn't progress. And if there's one thing to learn from this, I think it's don't cut your single tubers. Discard them instead. The other lesson, I think, is that a tuber that's putting roots out doesn't necessarily mean it's going to put a shoot out. I mean, at the stage when the tubers are cut away from the parent tuber clump, you can make a decision then to discard all of those that look as if they might fail, and keep only those where there's a pretty good eye visible. But part of the reason for me doing this year was to learn what happens when you do a good big batch. But we've got 74 plants now on the way, and I'm pretty happy with the results here. I hope that was helpful. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon, I hope.